What a cup tie. It was breathless, it was dramatic, but in the end, it is Leicester who are on the losing side. Full-time score at a jubilant Stamford Bridge now. Chelsea 4, Leicester 2.
Thank you very much, Chris and Matt. Matt will still be with us for our post-match show. Welcome back to Matchday Live here on Fox and Sub with me, Dan Bates. We've got Muzzy, is it? And Steve Walsh in the studio with me. Matt Elliott, as I said, still on co-commentary duty from Stamford Bridge as we assess. Well, a 4-2 defeat in the end. It really didn't feel like that about 8 minutes ago, did it? We thought we'd be talking about extra time. Unfortunately, Chelsea got those late goals, didn't they? But what a valiant performance in that second half.
Yeah, do you know what? Quarter-final FA Cup tie, that was a classic in the end. There's 6 goals involved in it. End-to-end stuff, that second half. I think, you know, that when Leicester look back at this, they've been a bit irrational at times, and you know, there was a few silly errors that we said we can't do and try and cut these, you know, this defending out. But you know, I'll tell you what, they had a good go at it at least, and yeah, they've got themselves back in the game through an own goal which was forced through Dizazi, and he was you know, he had a bad game, did the right back Mavididi getting at him. But you know, again, it was just heartbreak in the end. The sending off cost us, you know, that was a costly error of judgment, and things just turned against us. But they can, you know, they hold their heads high. They've given a good performance and shown us that, you know, again against a Chelsea outfit in the billionaires on the club, aren't they? You know, that we can compete. And they're unlucky. I thought at one stage, you know, like Muzzy had said earlier, that with the quiet in the crowd turned against Chelsea a little bit for half an hour, and Leicester really were direct, and they started to cause problems. Dewsbury Hall, I think, was clear. You know, he the effort that he put in today, and he always does. We know that, but he had a terrific game again, and yeah, so they can hold their heads high, Leicester, and you know, with, like I say, now they've got to concentrate. All the cups are out the way. They can concentrate on the running now. But what a game of football!
Yeah, I think he's covered everything I was going to say. Like I say, the next goal was the important goal, and we all right. It was an own goal, but we got that, and then all of a sudden the tide started to turn. And like I did mention before, that crowd at Stamford Bridge can change, and they can turn on players. They was turning on individual players. They turned on Sterling in the end. They turned on their goalkeeper. The wrong substitution. They started booing the manager. So, no, but they can hold their heads up. Second half performance was a lot better. You know, they had a real good go, and for spells of it, you know, they were starting to get on top. The sending offs killed us with 15-20 minutes to go. You know, you're a man down against a talented Chelsea team, and it's always going to be tough then to sort of get the game won.
Yeah, Matt Elliott, you're still with us, aren't you, at Stamford Bridge? The Chelsea players going around applauding their fans. The Leicester players actually going up to the away end as well, applauding those travelling 6,000 supporters who really deserve to clap their players there for that second half, particularly performance.
No, that's right. It was a valiant effort, wasn't it, in the second half. Even before the own goal, you know, there were signs that Leicester were still in the fight, as we'd mentioned, and well done to them for that. I thought a few things needed tweaking, maybe at half-time, because, as the boys mentioned in the break, Leicester were getting exposed and opened up too easily. It could have been, you know, they played reasonably well in that first half, but it could have been 4 down, as bizarre as that sounds. That couldn't continue, not against Chelsea's quality. They tightened it up a bit, and then as a result, they got into the game, and then that freakish own goal, all of a sudden, that, yeah, understandably unsettled Chelsea a touch, because they're a bit fragile at the moment. Leicester sensed that there was something there for them, and they gave it their all. They gave it their all, and I think, you know, all said and done, Leicester can take heart from that performance overall. There are things to look at, you know, going forward, and even now in the immediate future, there are things to address and pick up on, I think. But at the same time, they showed that, you know, they're not a million miles off. You know, the players of this sort of calibre here at Chelsea, Chelsea don't sign too many bad players, do they? I mean, okay, people have good and bad periods, and generally it's been turbulent here of late, but you've seen the quality they've got on the bench. Madueke, who's come on and turned the game eventually, but Leicester were valiant in defeat, I think it's fair to say, and I thought Dewsbury Hall, as Walsh has mentioned, in particular.
Yeah, it was valiant, wasn't it, in the second half?
Good intention and a little bit more up the tempo. You could see clearly they were really playing the ball quickly through the thirds, and you know, when they got in that final third, they're getting the ball wide, and you know, Chelsea struggled. You know, 1v1 situations, and you know, when Babadini cut in and hit that finish, what a terrific goal, and double step over, steps inside, gets us back in the game, and it was you thought there was only going to be one winner the way that Leicester were playing, so they've got to take credit out of the game, but also you've got to look at the fact that we've conceded 4 goals. You know, we do concede silly goals, and you know you look back and the errors and mistakes, they're not just individual skill. Okay, that was a great finish of the last one, but when you look, there's been errors before in the build-up to the play, and these are the mistakes that Leicester have to cut out. You know, I thought Wout Faes at times, he gave the ball away so cheaply and easily, and in the end, he got caught out in positional sense. For me, these are errors that we've got to cut out, and it's been happening most of the season. So, but you know, there's positives to take out of this going into the final run-in. Like I've said, it was a valiant attempt, but we fell short in the end. And but we certainly give Chelsea. You know, they were worried about us. They were on the back foot for half an hour in that second half, and Leicester were unlucky. They really were.
Yeah, I think an interesting tweet from Rob Tanner of The Athletic. He says, really valiant display. They can hold their heads up high rather in the second half. A trip to Wembley would have been nice, but they've got bigger fish to fry after the international break. That's what Rob Tanner thinks, and it's understandable. There's that 2-week break now until Bristol City away on the Friday, Good Friday. That's a massive game, of course, but Leicester can take heart, take confidence from today.
Another good thing that's come out today, there's no injuries. No one got any knocks, did they? And Didi came off just, I think, precautionary. He's just coming back from injury.
2 big players, Vardy, Ricardo, and McAteer. These 3, hopefully, after
they'll all be ready in 2 weeks, won't they? Hopefully for the next game. And then it's a real push for, you know, finishing hopefully top of the league, getting promoted, and that's what that would have been on the. You know, the top of the managers' list. You know, 100% they had to come straight back up. I think they're gonna do that, but it's going to be tough. But they need a good squad of players. They need everyone fit. They need to sort of tighten up a little bit. The back four, they can be a little bit we push forward, and sometimes this goes against us because we leave ourselves a little bit exposed. And today you saw little bits of it, but you know, like I say, fully fit squad. Leading into the last sort of month or 2 of the season, and they can go for it now.
We could be second in the league tonight, couldn't we? When Leeds played Millwall, is it early? You know, at 3 o'clock. Sorry, kick off. That all kicked off now, will it? So that's going to be interesting. We could be, you know, could be knocked. It could be a double whammy today. But you know, you've got to concentrate and be mentally strong in what you're thinking. You know, obviously a lot of fans now are getting a little bit worried. The pressure's on, you know, but I think they can deal with it. I really do. I think they've got some class players in the squad. They are a good footballing team. Just got to cut out these silly errors, and if they do, then they'll you know, like I say, when that first half, when I was looking, I was thinking, flipping out, we're losing so much shape here. You can't possibly do this and expect to win games, and like I say, them individual errors, just silly passes, and just costly mistakes at certain times and moments in the game, which puts you on the back foot. And other than that, they've really give a good account of themselves, Leicester, today.
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly in that second half, man. And we were talking in the studio at half time about wanting to come out and show fight, show determination and grit, and that's exactly what they did. And had it maybe not been for the sending off, they could have really fancied themselves at 2-2 there.
Well, the game was definitely in the balance, wasn't it? But it was as a result of defensive lapse. that the sending off occurred, wasn't it? And the penalty claims, etc. So again, that adds into what Walsh is saying there. They need to tighten up collectively. I don't think sometimes when the way that Maresca wanted to play today, well, obviously instructed his players to go and match up Chelsea at times, and Chelsea were quite clever because Mudryk was floating across here, there and everywhere. He was out wide on the left 1 minute, central and in a 10 position the next, and out wide on the right and overloading. But Leicester were not following him, but individuals were going up against him, and it made the back four very disjointed at times. There wasn't a back four. It was zigzagging all over the place, and holes appear like that. Chelsea exposed them, and it's basically you're dependent on 1v1 defending, and the best of intentions, that's not Vestergaard's strength. It's not Wout Fass's strength, in my view, either. Myself and Walshy couldn't defend like that against someone who's athletic like Jackson is, and Sterling is still sharp enough, albeit wasteful in front of goal. But you need to have that shape about you, and I thought that was part of Leicester's problems, as well as the sloppiness at times on the ball, which is a consequence of trying to play out the back. But having said that, I thought they showed, as boys have said there, many attributes there. They played some nice football at times, scored a wonderful goal, good situations themselves, couldn't quite find the quality often enough, which I suppose is to be expected to a degree. But what they did show was a real sort of resilience, togetherness, and an ability to stick in there and hang in together. And they talk about the spirit of the team, the squad. Sometimes that's just chucked in flippantly, but I thought there's been evidence of late, even though the results haven't been what they wanted, and again today, that Leicester are ready to apply themselves and dig in as deep as they need to, and they're going to have to in the remainder of the season, aren't they? But it's a quality that I'm not worried about them not possessing.
Yeah, that's very much the qualities that you need right at the end of a season when you're going for a title, isn't it? Is that determination that Matt has just said there.
There's no lack of confidence in the team, is there? Even 2-0 down, they've managed to claw their way back into a game, which is a great sign for a team. Maybe as the second half went further on, the sending off, which was a real game changer. But like I say, they can come away from this game with their heads held high. They put a good shift in there for 90 minutes. They never gave up. They was always in the game. And even with a sending off, with 10 men, they were still in it. They were still playing some good stuff. It was just maybe towards the end of it, that little bit of quality that Chelsea have, that was the difference between the two teams today.
I think they more or less had a loss of confidence in Sterling. You see the thing, the shot over the bar, the things he was doing. He just seemed low on confidence. Disarzi, after he gave that own goal away, he fell to pieces. Mudryk, in and out of games. This is why Chelsea are in and out. You can tell why they are up and down, because they can turn it on in a moment, and it's similar to like Man United at times. They can turn it on. They've got very good players, but they can't do it for 90 minutes.
They look a long way off winning a Premier League.
They do, absolutely.
They look a long way off.
And Leicester can take heart from this, and they've got to look at this game as right. Okay, we're out of the cup now. We can concentrate solely on our main aim, and that is winning the championship, so that we can get promotion. Whether we come second, it doesn't matter, But now you've got a 3-horse race, and we could go second tonight. Confidence is knocked again, but I don't think these players will look at it that way. I think Enzo, his game plan got changed today when the sending off happened. I'm guessing he was looking at bringing one of his forwards on to try and get a winner. That's how the mentality and the shift in the game changed, and it was unlucky, and it had to be. When you look back, it was a red card, and they got it right. But still, it was a wholehearted performance, and I think that like I say, they can hold their heads high coming out of that dressing room.
Let's talk about the Steffi Mavididi goal. Real individual brilliance, wasn't it, on the left hand side to to almost create the goal from nothing for himself.
Yeah, cut inside onto his right foot, and as soon as it left his foot, you could see it was going in the back of the net. And like I say, it was game on after that. I think Chelsea then really struggled for 10, 15 minutes after that. They didn't quite know what to do. I think they run out of ideas a little bit, if I'm being honest. And like we said before numerous times, that the crowd do turn at Stamford Bridge, and they was turning on individual players, like I said, and you could see it, you could feel it. It was just unfortunate that then the sending off came, I think, because Leicester then could have maybe gone on it to even possibly win the game.
We were moving the ball around,
Yeah.
sort of shifting it from side to side quicker, and it certainly upset Chelsea. They were on the back foot all the time. Before Mavididi scored that, you could sense that we were getting at them and we were causing them problems, and you could see that there was going to be a goal, and it was brilliance how we cut inside, and a little double step over as it goes, and a great finish it certainly was, and that's what we've got. We've got people who can finish and score very good goals, but can we get those little tap-ins sometimes, and can we get in the box? That first half when there was Kiernan was playing crosses across that box, can we? They're the times when you can really. We could have had a better start than you think, really. But at half time, we were thinking this could go on and be 4 or 5. But fair play, he didn't make any changes. I thought he'd make a change. He never made any changes, and they came out with a bit of impetus, a bit of something about them. Let's have a go at Chelsea, and he roughed them up a little bit, and it worked.
Yeah, that again, Matt, as we've already alluded to. That game in, about 10 days, 11 days, 12 days against Bristol City, they can take confidence into it. They know how much determination that they showed in that second half there. Okay, just couldn't quite take it to extra time, but they did so well.
Again, Muzzy and both the boys have mentioned it about the confidence, and going into the next game, there doesn't seem to be a lack of it. It could have been a little bit deflating or perhaps even damaging if Leicester had ended up getting tonked this afternoon, which it was a possibility. It would have been harsh because on the sort of reflection of the whole game, even in the first half, the balance of general play, I think they gave a decent account of themselves. It was just they looked a little bit vulnerable, or more than a little bit vulnerable, pretty much every time Chelsea got the ball, and that's not a good sign. But that was addressed more the second half, although it still applied. As Chelsea, had numerous situations. I don't know what the stats are. I don't know in terms of. I dare even go there with the XG situation, but if you know what I mean. Chelsea generally had the lion's share, didn't they, of advantageous positions and goal mouth incidents, etc. Sanchez wasn't worked that much in truth, but there were a couple of times, more than a couple, that Leicester could have come up with better, with that, just a little improvement on the quality side of things. But generally, you come out of that, you go, okay, 4-2. There are different ways to lose games, aren't they? But we've mentioned the word valiant, and that does apply. It does apply. They gave their all. They were committed. They didn't look out of their depth. Adjustments, maybe, on another day against that sort of opposition. Will Maresca test his back line as much as he did today? I don't know, sort of balancing things up, isn't it? How much you gamble. But he likes his team to play in a certain way. But that's possibly for the future. But going up against Bristol City, there's no reason to go into that game with trepidation, regardless of what happens between now and then in the forthcoming couple of weeks. Leicester have played us with a little bit of, not arrogance, but a little bit of strut in their play throughout the season, and they need to continue doing that. Remind themselves of how good a players and team they are. And I think today, overall, has done that, has reinforced that a little bit. The supporters will be relatively content with the efforts of their players, and that they won't be more concerned now than they were 2 hours ago about the forthcoming fixtures.
Yeah. Final say, I can go to you, Muzzy, obviously, as Matt has just referenced there, 9 games now to go. That's all for Leicester. There won't be an FA Cup semi-final or final, unfortunately, because of the result today, but they can now seriously concentrate on those huge 9 championship games.
Yeah, you know, and they've got 2 really tough ones coming up, away to Bristol and then at home to Norwich. So, yeah, it's going to be an eventful sort of last bit of the season. I still think there's going to be twists and turns. I think other teams are going to drop points, and we possibly will do ourselves. But I think it'll be close. I think today's showing, the confidence is still high. They've got other players to come back into that team to make them stronger again. And like I say, there's hardly any injuries. Well, there was no injuries today. So indeed, he's got another 70 minutes in his legs, which is a good thing. He didn't do too bad today. He's more attack minded now than he has been previously. And they just like I say, they can come away from this. All right, they've lost 4-2, but it wasn't a spanking. They didn't get overrun at all at any time. They was always in the game. But like I say, it's going to be a different kettle of fish when you're playing against the championship side, because they'll go there with, you know what, we can beat these away from home, and they probably will.
Yeah, we've got plenty more coming your way here on Fox's Hub over the coming weeks, of course. Extra time on Monday evening will end the international break, or start the international break rather, from a Leicester point of view. We'll be looking back at this game this afternoon. That is from 6 p.m, so do join us for that. Then a week on Friday, Good Friday, will be that game with Bristol City from 2 p.m. And there is a new podcast available with the man that is sat next to me currently. Muzzy Is It, in conversation with Matt Elliott and Jerry Tagg. It really is a fantastic listen if that's where you want to do that. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can also watch it on Fox's Hub or on YouTube as well. Big thank you to Muzzy Is It for coming in today, to Walshy. Thank you, as ever, for your company. Matt Elliott, who travelled down to Stamford Bridge as well for us to witness what was in the end a defeat in the FA Cup quarter-final, but it so very nearly could have been better, with the Foxes nearly forcing the game into extra time. We'll be back on Monday for our show Extra Time, and then, of course, those huge 9 championship games starting after the international break. Goodbye, everybody.